showing you things you never seen. Welcome in to a late night edition of Mailbox Sports. Once again, we are storming up a storm to give you all the double entendres we can. How you feeling tonight? Quick recap of day 2 in Bourbonnais training camp for the Chicago Bears. We have a small slideshow put together for you as we expound upon a few major concerns, for some, to say the least. And without further ado, we want to go ahead and try to get those things sent along to you before you have any concern about that product getting lost out here. First things first, hit the like button, hit that share, subscribe, get some more watch time to the page, and let's hope that we can get some things going that satiates your Bears' appetite for training camp. First things first, let's talk about all of the culprits of these concerns. Jaylon Johnson, Braxton Jones, DeAndre Swift. Now, while they might not be the only concerns, those are the primary concerns that we will talk about today, and we will do so in a way that follows this format. I'll give you some good, I'll give you some bad. All three players have things that I think have been addressed, could be addressed again, or have been addressed for the last time, if you're more the ever optimist that I am. And so, for Braxton Jones, obviously, let's talk about the good. Good news for Braxton is that he is the incumbent starter, has experience, and I would say he has a de facto edge in the offensive line competition just because of said experience. 5th round draft pick has been rated pretty fairly by PFF, so I think that he's a pretty stable, reliable option. The bad news for Braxton, if we want to look at it that way, is that he broke his foot last season. The healing process has taken a bit of time, so while Braxton did start training camp along with everyone else, he did have a bit of a delay in terms of team activities. He's doing a lot of things individually right now, and so we look forward to finding out whether or not that injury will help Ozzy Trapillo or maybe Karan Amagaji be the person that actually usurps him while he pips him, or just straight out mans up and takes his spot based on performance. But those would be the reasons in which we would talk about Braxton Jones being a concern in the early stages of training camp. Moving along, who could be a surprise to the list that we talk about today, you say? I venture to say that Jaylon Johnson is that particular surprise. While we know Jaylon to be a highly rated cornerback in the league, Jaylon recently had some concerns verbalized about all the new defensive back money that was getting passed around with some of the new deals. I think it's more so not tongue-in-cheek, but not something to be addressed with right now. But we will talk about the good things for Jaylon if we can talk about anything for him being on the non-football injury list. NFI is what they call it. The good news for Jaylon is that he is not, like I said, holding out about any contractual things. And so the negative thoughts that many people had about said rumors have somewhat been quelled. Not to mention that you cannot be on the non-football injury list without, I would assume, having proof of said non-football related injury. And so I don't believe that those types of things ever had any factor, but we do give credence to the fact that it did have some legs, and hopefully those legs have been chopped off, for lack of a better term. The bad news for Jaylon. Jaylon does have an injury that Ryan Poles indicated will take him a few weeks to return from. At that particular point, I wonder if the rust will affect Jaylon in a way that slows or delays his process meshing and melding into a new defensive system with a new defensive coordinator, Dennis Allen. I don't believe that it should hinder him ultimately for the whole season, but in regards to how he will start the season off in terms of knocking the rust off, being able to perform at an optimal level, not so sure about it, but we will go ahead and see if those things might pan out in Jalen's favor where he can actually make a difference early on and throughout the season. Last but not least, let's talk about my man, DeAndre Swift. If you can see, I got both of DeAndre's boxes empty. Those boxes are empty because we will fill those with a question. Do we feel that DeAndre is more so lumped into a RB2 room, i.e. Rashawn Johnson, Kyle Monangai, I'll put those things together, maybe even Ian Wheeler. Does anybody, although I expect DeAndre to be the de facto number one, many question if he will share responsibilities so much so as to whether or not he will bring someone else in to help lead the backfield. And at that point, the question would wonder if the Bears have a trio of running back twos as opposed to an RB1. I don't believe so myself. And according to Ben Johnson, the bulletin board material for the other blank box has been set as he indicates that all of the disdain or lack of respect for the running back room has been heard by all running backs. And DeAndre, which I think it was more subliminal, speaking to DeAndre in his second go-around with Ben Johnson, he spoke to the effects of all the running backs being coachable. I don't believe that was aimed at Roschon Johnson, Kyle Monangai, or any of the other running backs. I believe that was specifically targeted towards DeAndre Swift, i.e. him being traded from Detroit ultimately was something that a lot of people question as to whether or not he worked out with Ben Johnson. I believe that early on in his career, he thought he was a bell cow, didn't get the particular requisite respect due to injury. And so at that particular point, he had a problem with the way in which Ben Johnson wanted to run the dual back system, I believe. And I think that was part of the reason why he was gone. Moving forward, he is onto a new system or an upgraded familiarity with Ben Johnson in his newfound system for the Bears. And we look to see that those boxes can be filled with a lot more positives, a lot more penultimate answers to tell us whether or not DeAndre has learned how to get the tough yards, not dance so much, and try to do things that will not have people question him as being the unquestioned number one. So, my thing for everyone here is, what are your thoughts about the Bears' main concerns after day two? I know people have spoken about Caleb's rocky 2 days. On the whole, I don't know that I would expect much different, but I do expect that before we get into any preseason, deep training camp drills, putting the pads on next week, some of those things will be brushed up. I do not think that there will be major concerns for the Bears, but what are your camp concerns for the Chicago Bears? Let me know in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe, and comment. I don't know why we said it, but we meant to say content. Check me out later on. Late night things are not what we do, but we are coming with more mail fresh to you. So let's put a stamp on that left tackle. Let's go ahead and not have any delayed mail when it comes to the defensive backs. And I hope that we have nothing but an RB1 and a lot of complementary pieces to go along with our own version of Detroit's dynamic duo. I am your host, Postman 1914. We will talk more as training camp unfolds. Bear down. Mailbox Sports. We will talk to you. We are out. Peace and love. Boom, 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 boom.